Okay. Hello. Today I decided I wanted to make a plan with these particular fabrics. I have had them in my collection, probably almost 4 years. This is a peach color, and I bought it because it had the sailboats, well, they're pirate ships and castles. And when I opened this up, I was a little surprised because there was a lot more to this cut of fabric. I'm trying to stay away from the baby look. And so what I'm looking at is, what should I have go with this little collection of fabric? I bought it in Scotland, and I was not familiar with the company at all on my one trip that I've made in my life outside of the United States. But I did find that it's Katie and Bertie Paper Company from Moda from several years ago. So it has this taupey beige. It has this peach. And what I really loved was this piece here with the castles, because that reminded me of my trip to Scotland. So what should go with this? I don't know. This came with all of these pieces, but I'm just not feeling the love of this yellow with these peaches. So this may go to the side. But I pulled a bunch of fabric out earlier, and while I was doing that, it inspired me to clean up my act. And I threw away all the old scraps that were less than 2 inches, and now I have a lot of options. The first is gray. So as I'm going to pull the camera down here. As I start looking, I'm taking cues from the fabrics. I have a color wheel somewhere, but I've never been successful in using a color wheel, probably because I never took an art class in my life. And I am really just taking cues from what is in the fabrics I love. And hi, Glenna. I am so glad you're joining me. And I always thought that this little piece here didn't go with all of the others. And so I decided I wanted to get some opinions and get some ideas from people as we go through this, trying to figure out why I've languished with this for 4 years in my stash. It's because they're odd colors for me and I cannot figure out what to go with them. So let's look. Gray. This particular gray, I think, looks pretty nice with that. This particular gray, I think, is too dark, and I would put that in the back seat here. I think it overwhelms the soft colors. This gray, though, has a little bit of both. It's got a lot of texture to it, and so do these fabrics. Maybe. So we'll put that next to the lighter gray. I have a lot of grays. But when I pull this particular gray, I don't think it goes with, I think it's too white. I think there's not enough. So that one was a reject. What about blue? This, no, not the right feeling. And this has too much of that fluorescent green that takes away from the peachy colors. But what about this one? I thought that one had enough white in it that maybe it could go with in a border or something. Then I got crazy and I pulled out another orange peach. No, see, that's too much copper color against this more peach color. Nope. Well, then I started thinking, well, what about these blues? Because I think this goes together. And in this mode of grunge, there's a little bit of pinks, and it's pretty dark. I think it's too dark and too much. Same with the grunge pinks. Just when you put them next to each other, to me it screams no, because they're just not the right family of colors. I grabbed a bunch of the hand dyes I have from Cherrywood. I don't have much of these. These are all I have, little scraps. But what's interesting is when I put the soft colors from this bundle next to it, there's a couple maybes, but still I think it's too saturated. So then I got thinking wild. What about this flower? This one I thought had distinct possibilities, even though this is more whimsical and this is more formal. The colors all read from the same family. I see the same taupey colors, I see the same peach colors, but I love this little bit of blue. So I thought this was a good one. This went with this particular bundle, and I thought, no, I don't think it's going to go. But when I put it next to it, I'm thinking we're onto something here. This may be an interesting, this was bought as a collection, but when I put the purple and this purple flower and this red, I start getting overpowered by it. The brown just drags it down. I don't think that would be good. But then I start going through a whole bunch of other colors that I have. So these I like very much. We'll put these right here with the grays. And now I have a bunch of these in fat quarter cuts. Nope, too close. Nope. Wait. That one maybe. So we'll put this in the maybe pile. This one I thought there was some distinct possibilities because it has the same taupey colors. Whoop. Oh, Glenna, hang in there with me. I knocked over my camera, got so excited. These two colors, maybe. This one, no. And these two colors of that same... This is so close, but so far. And I think this is too overpowering. So that really brought me down to a bundle I bought because I thought they would go together with this collection. And let's put these yummy ones back here. And these are maybes over here. And I think the blue is too overpowering. And these grays are maybe neutrals. But I bought this bundle thinking that they would go together. And what I have decided is the print is too big for the ships and the castle. Let's hold the castle up here a little bit, because that's really what I want to be focal. And this I thought was peach when I bought the bundle. Really, really orange. I love the trees in this blue, but the scale is big still. See, they're just, I bought them specifically to go with these, and nope, and this is too modern. So what I have decided is that these fabrics, and maybe Glenna, you'll agree with me, is no on the yellow birds, because I just think it makes it awkward. And yes to this sweet floral that reads and picks up all of the same peachy colors. And if I hold these up, you're gonna see that they really do match. And I don't want it to match, but they're in the same family. The undertones and the value, the deepness of the saturation of the colors is soft, just like my castles. And this little diagonal, maybe that could go on a setting stone or something. With the grays, I like this a lot, but it's really directional. Not sure that will work. But I have quite a few grays in this family, which pick up the same gray as in this. So what I'm doing is auditioning fabrics. And I really think these two go very nicely with the curling leaves and the florals without detracting from my focal fabric of the ship and the castles to remind me of my trip that I made to Scotland in 2014. Hanging onto these fabrics this long, waiting for something to meld in my head. Now the question is, when I put all of these lovely little goodies together, what am I going to make? Well, that is something I don't have an answer for yet, because in all the 4 years, I never opened all of these fabrics up. I was afraid they'd get dusty. But what I find interesting is that there is already little squares cut. Now I like the birds in this because they're neutral, and then the castle fabric is just a repeat on the castle. So I may do something in the line of putting the castles with the ships, frame them with some of these other fabrics. Or, oh yeah, Glenna, it's a great point, fussy cutting. What I was thinking is fussy cutting out some of these castles and ships and birds and the flowers and making them the center of either just a plain frame or making the center of a star. But the thing is, I really want this to not get cut up. And what I'm going to have to really ponder deeply in my head as I decide a pattern, because I think these collections of what I have in my stash is where I'll start. I don't want to lose the integrity of the castles in the air and ships. And I got to think, what reminded me of Scotland when I was there? It was castles and stones. It was the sea, whiskey, Highland games, and kilts. So remember, I'm going to fussy cut out the baby and make this more of a whimsical fairy garden. Hey, that's a great idea, isn't it? Fairy garden. That so reminds me of Scotland, and it's so much of things that I love. I think we're going to have a fairy garden. So let's look at all of the fabrics. In fact, I want to fold over this very sophisticated print over the baby, because that kind of, and now you get a real sense of the colors. Yep. Isn't that funny? I get inspired a lot by talking and exercising. I think we got us a fairy garden here with the little touches of gray and maybe bound in this dark fabric. We'll see. That's not off the table, and this one isn't 100% off. Fairy garden. Now I got to make a design. Thank you for joining me so much, and thank you as I went through how I audition fabrics and how I go through picking up ideas from what is already existing in the fabrics I have, because the color wheel just doesn't work for me that much. So thank you for joining me. Leave comments or questions below if you have any, and I want to especially thank Glenna for joining me for Facebook Live. You have a wonderful day.